Today we're diving into the world of nutrition. In particular, how can we get enough protein in our diet? We'll touch on the importance of dairy, protein-rich foods like nuts and fish, as well as healthy fats. Right, George?
I'm just here to milk the situation for all it's worth. But don't worry, I'm keeping it pretty low fat.
It's Doctora Victoria and George.
The U.S. dietary guidelines recommend adults consume 3 cups of dairy products daily for a 2,000 calorie diet. Dairy, like low-fat milk and yogurt, is rich in protein, calcium, vitamin D, and potassium. George, did you get your 3 cups today?
You know me, Doctora. I've got no body to nourish. But I still enjoy a good yogurt pun. It's culture, after all.
Well, exactly, George. And for those who limit dairy, it's crucial to get these nutrients from other sources. It doesn't all have to be animal-based. Canada's food guide also recommends 3 servings of milk and alternatives daily. This means including a serving of dairy at each meal, whether it's a glass of milk, a bowl of soup made with milk, or a delicious main course like lasagna.
Yum. But what about folks who might not be able to handle dairy?
Well, good point, George. For those who are dairy-free or intolerant or just prefer to avoid it, there are plenty of other calcium-rich options. Consider calcium-fortified beverages like soy, almond, or rice milk. Don't forget about calcium-fortified orange juices and canned fish with bones like salmon or sardines. These alternatives ensure that you're not missing out on this crucial nutrient. However, those milk alternatives may not have as much protein in them as dairy. Soy milk is going to have the most, especially compared to oat milk or almond milk.
Bon appetit. I say, whether it's dairy or alternatives, there's no excuse not to keep these bones strong.
That's right. Now let's talk about protein. Adults should aim for about 5.5 ounces of protein-rich foods daily. This includes poultry, beans, peas, nuts, and fish. Speaking of nuts, consuming them regularly lowers the risk of cardiovascular disease.
Nuts about the fact, Doc, they're the kernel of a healthy diet.
Right you are, George. And let's not forget about fish. Oily fish like salmon and tuna are recommended weekly. But remember, folks, watch the mercury content, especially if you're pregnant or planning to be pregnant.
Hey viewers, don't swim away just yet. Make sure you hit that subscribe if you're hooked on our health tips.
Protein helps keep you full longer. Something else that does that is fats. Healthy fats like polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats should replace saturated and trans fats. These are good fats and found in certain oils, avocados, nuts, and fatty fish. Speaking of health, George, let's calculate your protein needs. At 170 pounds and eating 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of weight, how much protein do you need?
Well, Doctora, I might be all bones, but let's crunch those numbers. Convert my weight from pounds to kilograms, then multiply by 0.8. What do we get? 170 pounds divided by 2.205 equals 77 kilograms. Then 77 kilograms times 0.8 equals 61.6 grams.
And if you eat 3 times a day, that's about 20.5 grams of meal, George. How about you watching? Take out your calculator and let's calculate what you need in your day. If you know your kilograms, just use that. Otherwise, take your weight in pounds and divide it by 2.205. This will give you kilograms. Or just Google it. Or if you have Siri on your phone, she's good at some fast math too. Then take those kilograms, multiply by 0.8, and voila! That's how much protein you need for the entire day. For George, you need about 60 grams of protein a day. And remember, individual needs based on weight and lifestyle.
But I don't really know how much protein is in my food, Doc. How do I figure out that part?
That's certainly the trickier part. What does 60 grams of protein a day actually look like? Well, for a start, let's see if we can get 15 to 20 grams of protein in each meal. But how do you know if you're even getting enough? With animal products, it's pretty easy. chicken, beef, fish, they're all about 7 grams per 1 ounce of protein. And how much is an ounce? I like to think of a fancy 4-ounce steak at the restaurant. 4 ounces is about yay big. It's not that much. So 1 ounce is not very much at all. Half of a chicken breast, that's at least 3 ounces. So if I eat that chicken, 3 ounces times 7 grams, that's 21 grams of protein. That's my goal for the meal. What about Meatless Monday? Well, we'll make a pot of chili, canned black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, and depending on the kind of bean, it's about 7 or 8 grams of protein per half cup. And I don't know about you, but I'm not going to have just half a cup of chili. I'm going to have at least a cup. And so that is 14 to 16 grams of protein for my cup of chili. And what about dairy? I don't even like cottage cheese, but half a cup is 14 grams of protein. Put on a little strawberry or pineapple, it's pretty good. And 14 grams with pretty much no effort. Either make it a heaping half cup or add some seeds and voila, you've got that goal met. And what about soy products? Well, you can find those frozen bags of edamame and sprinkle them on salads. Some could go in that chili or steam them like you would peas for a side. While we're on the topic of healthy eating, it's crucial to acknowledge that everyone's body is different. This means that dietary restrictions and allergies can play a significant role in our nutrition and choices. Right, George?
Right, Doctora. I might not have a stomach, but I know that for many food choices are no small matter.
Exactly, George. For instance, lactose intolerance can make dairy consumption a challenge. But don't worry, there's plenty of alternatives, like lactose-free milk or plant-based options like almond and soy milk. And if you are lactose intolerant and must have dairy, try some lactase. People stop making the enzyme, or think of it as scissors to cut up the milk. So they get bloated and have a rather unpleasant flatulence when they eat dairy. I'm surprised when people tell me that they react poorly to dairy, that they've never tried any lactase. It's available in the pharmacy or grocery store in the supplement section. You can usually find lactose-free milk in the refrigerator section of the grocery store. And in Mexico, I feel like it's easier to find lactose-free milk than regular milk.
And let's not forget about nut allergies, Doctora. They're a hard shell to crack for some folks.
Right again, George. For those with nut allergies, seeds like flaxseed or chia seeds can be great alternatives. They're packed with nutrients and are a fantastic source of healthy fats. And if you like the idea of peanut butter or almond butter, well, there's sunflower seed butter as an alternative. And for our friends with gluten sensitivities or actual celiac disease, navigating the bread aisle can be a little tricky. But fear not, there are more gluten-free options available than ever before. I think it has gotten a little bit, trendy in some areas, but because of this, it has made it a lot easier for people with celiac disease to find gluten-free products. If you think of the protein gluten as a Lego creation, one of the little building blocks of Lego is a peptide called gliadin. This is what sets people off in celiac disease. That being said, that protein gluten is made into a meat alternative called seitan. Pretty sure it's the worst name ever for a food, but it's spelled differently from the fallen angel. It's spelled S-E-I-T-A-N.
Looks like navigating nutrition is all about finding the right route for your body.
Precisely, George. And remember, folks, if you're dealing with dietary restrictions or allergies, consulting with a registered dietitian or healthcare professional can provide you with personalized advice and peace of mind. Anything else on your mind, George?
Well, Doctora, I might not drink water, but I sure know it's important. I know drinking water is important. Maybe tell me about that. And you just told me how much protein I need. Can you give me some pointers on how to get all that in?
Absolutely. Hydration plays a vital role in our overall well-being. George, how do you keep your bones hydrated?
Keeping hydrated is like keeping the oil in an engine. It makes everything run smoothly.
Exactly, George. Our bodies are made up of about 60% water. Well, maybe not yours. And staying hydrated helps with digestion, absorption, circulation, and even maintaining body temperature. Sometimes it's a matter of getting a big water bottle for the day if you don't have time to refill a small one, or having reminders on your phone, or having some bracelets or elastics on your wrist. Every time you have a cup of water, you move an elastic from one side over to the other, and by the end of the day, hopefully you've moved them all. If you feel thirsty, you are already dehydrated, and your pee should not be darker than apple juice. As for getting all that protein in, preparing one day of the week that you have time and doing some meal prep can help. Planning your meals can help you manage portion sizes and ensure a balanced intake of nutrients and reduce food waste.
Meal planning. That sounds like a recipe for success, Doctora.
It sure is, George, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Start by planning a few meals a week, incorporating a variety of food groups. This ensures that you have a mix of proteins, carbohydrates, and essential vitamins and minerals. And for those on the go, preparing healthy snacks like cut vegetables, nuts, or fruit can help you avoid the temptation of less healthy options. It's about making sure that nutritious choices are convenient. If you plan your meals out, you'll know what you need to get from the grocery store too. Take a screenshot of this page here if you want some help planning out your meals.
My favorite. Convenience without compromising health. I like the sound of that.
Me too, George. And remember, while it's important to be mindful of what we eat and drink, it's also crucial to enjoy your food and the experience of eating. Food is not just nourishment, it's also a source of pleasure and a way to connect with others. So there you have it, a quick guide to incorporating healthier food options into your diet. George, thanks for your bona fide insights today.
Always a pleasure, Doctora. And remember, folks, it's not just about the bare bones of nutrition, but enjoying the full flavor of life.
If you want to learn some more about health topics, check out here. Or what about over here? Thank you for joining us today, our healthcare team. We hope that you'll join us next time. Bye-bye.